Before GCSE, I never truly understood math. I simply did it because I had to and would get stuck on tricky questions. But since I've discovered this simple process, my math life has completely changed. I've been able to take A-level maths a year early and still get an A-star. My name is Tanay. I'm an A-level student studying math, further math, physics, economics, and IT. And in this video, I'll be talking about how to easily get a 9 without being some freak of nature. Let's get on with it. Okay, so 99% of GCSE Maths students fall into one of two categories. They either lack fundamental knowledge or they lack practice. And I think more students are in the lack knowledge band, so let's begin with that. You're in class. You zone out for a second. And now you're behind. Extend this over 2 years worth of classes and you're This is why almost all of last minute revision just comes down to filling gaps in your knowledge. Luckily for you, there's two ways to get your mathematical knowledge down. An easy one and a not so easy one. You can either dig down into the fundamentals of math and work your way up to GCSE, or you can just learn things for the purpose of the exam. I personally went down the understanding path because I wanted to take A-level further math and pursue a computer science degree. But if I'm being honest, you can easily get a 9 at GCSE without truly understanding everything. So here's the easy route. Step 1. Open your math book to the contents page. Go chapter by chapter and see if you remember anything. Whatever you remember, write it down on a piece of paper under that topic's name. Circle the chapters you remember nothing from. Step 2. Check your notes. You need to check for yourself if the notes you have on all the topics are good enough for you. Are they understandable? Do they explain everything needed? Are there solved examples? And so on. Now, give yourself just 15 minutes to look at your notes on the topic and do what most people consider revision. So, look at the formulas, look at the examples, and just absorb the topic. It can be very tempting to just do this for a half an hour and call it a day. But this is actually a pretty terrible way to revise. Instead, you want to Step 3. Practice. Maths is a subject where the application of knowledge is as important as the knowledge itself. So, go to the mixed exercises of the topic and just start randomly doing questions. Do this for a week or two before your exam and I'm certain you'll do great. But now let's talk about actually understanding math. I put this section second because while I did take this route, the revision technique we just talked about was unbelievably helpful and something I actually did on top of trying to understand math. Anyway, the way to understanding math, or anything really, is first principles thinking. Let me explain. See, I'm not particularly talented at math, but for some time now I've stopped accepting math just as it is on the teacher's whiteboard and really thinking to the root of what I'm doing. That is first principles thinking. For example, here's how I thought about something as simple as multiplication. Let's say we want to multiply by 5. Some people, if you tell them to multiply 6,430 by 5, they'd struggle. But it's actually really easy. Just stick a 0 at the end of it, i.e. multiply by 10, and then divide that number by 2. So 6,430, that's 64,300. Divide that by 2, it's 32,150. If I wasn't saying that out loud, I'd be able to give you the answer in a second. Why does this work? Because 5 can be rewritten as 10 over 2. And 10 is an easy number to multiply with, 2 is an easy number to divide with. Or let's take the laws of indices, something complicated in GCSE Maths. Why is this rule true? Well, let's think of a simple example. A squared times A cubed. So, A squared is basically A times A, and A cubed is a times a times a. Multiply the two and there's 5a's, so a to the power of 5. Point being, if you want math to feel like a breeze for you, you really need to stick to topics until you truly get them. Alright, now let's talk practice. As I mentioned earlier, maths is a subject where the application of knowledge is as important as the knowledge itself. So how should you apply knowledge? Past papers. Go to physicsandmathstutor.com and you'd find all the past papers you'd ever want. In fact, research by some very clever people shows that the number of past papers a student does is the single biggest predictor of how well they'll do on an exam. So the moment you have a decent grasp of concepts and the types of questions they're asking, get to doing past papers. And that's pretty much it. So to recap, if you just want to get by with the exam and getting the 9, do the revision technique we talked about. If you want to really understand math, stick with topics until you really get them. And practice. Do past papers because that's the key to success. Finally, here's a link of resources that I use extensively at A Level and at GCSE. If you enjoyed this video but need pointers as to how to sit your ass down and actually do this stuff, i.e. be productive, you might like these videos. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.